This episode sponsored by Topo Chico.
Welcome back to this hobby of ours. I am still in Los Angeles with my main man, G Money.
What's up, dude?
What's going on? And just taking a moment out of our day to discuss an interesting subject that we've bandied about for some time. Last time I was out here, we went into the jewelry watch district, and it was actually that trip was that was the first time we went down to the LA jewelry district was so the sellers were flush with watches and everything. And we went from store to store looking at different watches, and they started saying, oh, if you don't like this dial, we can put one in that you like.
Any dial you want.
Any dial you want, we'll find it and we'll put it in there if you don't like this dial, which, I mean, I guess Frankenstein watches.
I mean, that was mostly just for the Datejust, though.
Yeah,
That
well.
seemed to be more or less the context. I didn't see too many, like, alternative Speedmaster
Dials that trip. Yeah, no, but the point being that swapping dials is a thing, and it's something worth talking about. But in today's context, we're going to be looking at some different Omega Speedmaster models that have very unique dials, and something that I started noticing, which was dial parts showing up on eBay, ranging anywhere from $500 to $2,000, based on the variant. And something to consider if you're looking to buy one of these special pieces. Gosh, how would you know if it wasn't just a watch with a swapped in dial? I mean, obviously, if you buy the seller, and maybe the likelier chance of it being real is if it does come with original box and papers. But even that, once these start skyrocketing, the papers can be faked. So it's like, you got to be careful out there is the overarching message. But if you've never seen these Speedmasters, this might be something cool to check out. So G and I have looked at these, and we're going to pop them up. I'm going to pop them up on the screen. And the first up is this little baby here, the Speedmaster Mitsukoshi Panda variant, which I got to say is pretty gorgeous.
Yeah, it's a nice looking watch.
I mean, Mitsukoshi is a chain store in Japan. They've been around forever, back to the 17th century. And in 2003, Speedmaster did a special edition for them, which they're opt to do. It's a lot of unusual Omega Japan-only releases.
Yeah, I mean, that seems to be the case in basically all industries. It seems like music, entertainment in general, luxury items, electronics. Yeah, they have top grade everything.
Special stuff.
Special editions. They do it best. And yeah, I think this dial is, I think it's probably very polarizing. You either love it or you hate it. I like it. It almost kind of makes the Speedmaster dial, I don't want to say minimalist, but that contrast certainly kind of,
I don't know, I think it actually spices it up. I love the Speedmaster Pro dial layout itself.
Yeah.
We're going to see some other variants that I really love in a hot minute. But yeah, this one,
it's a clean look.
Yeah, it's clean. It's expensive. I don't know that I would go the distance on it. I don't even know what these are going for, because the originals don't often show up, but the builds show up.
I see.
Yeah, even the builds are expensive. They make a reduced in this as well with this color scheme. All right, next batter up, probably the belle of the ball for today's video. Oops, not that one. Come on. The Omega Professional Racing Japan.
Yeah, I want that.
Yeah, it's gorgeous. The original came out in the 60s. I don't know what the count is on them, but this that I happen to pull today is the reissue from 2004, and there were 2004 models or units produced. So, gosh, these are in the 15s right now, 13 to 15, and
I don't want it that bad.
The builds are cruising at 7 or 8K, and if you think about it this way, if you can find the dial and the handset, because don't forget, if you're going to do a mod, you need the dial and the handset, because that chrono hand is orange. And so is the 3 o'clock sub dial. So it's not enough just to get the dial. I've seen those dials for $1,200 or more. You get a Speedmaster for $4,000, and then you swap it in. You know, you're going to be at $7,000 on your own once you pay the watchmaker. So if you're okay with a mod and they're advertising it with full disclosure and it's what you like, it's your watch, it's your fun. Do what seems good to you.
Yeah, I mean, I think there's, you know, it should be maybe more acceptable. I think that there is kind of a, well, it's just like a dirty feeling when it comes to like the word mod. I feel like in the watch industry, and you know, should it be so bad? I mean, in any other aspect or any other, you know, hobby.
Like cars.
Yeah.
Modding cars and bikes.
That's a thing.
It's a thing.
You know, why not? But I think the problem is that it's not
Oh, hello, birds. Please don't poop on us. Thank you.
It's not modding to
Misrepresent.
it is modding to misrepresent in this case.
Well, I mean, not if they're declaring it, is what I mean.
Well, sure, but I mean, it is trying to represent as something that it's not.
That's their original parts, though. It's not like they're fake dials. They're Omega parts. Now, how those Omega parts slipped out into the free market is another question mark, right?
Yeah. And let me ask you this then.
Yeah.
The serial number, if it gets sent back in.
Who would they? Oh, yeah. Chances are Omega would not service it. I mean,
would they even return it?
I don't think they can hold on to your goods.
I've heard that there are cases.
Rolex does weird stuff like that.
Well,
like,
maybe that's what I'm thinking of. But
I think Rolex doesn't return the parts.
No, I've heard that they'll hang on to watches.
Yeah, they'll hang on to stuff.
Yeah.
That's unacceptable.
Yeah.
But the thing is this, like when it comes to watch modding, everyone's okay with Seiko, entry-level modding, right? And then everyone's okay with Rolex modding, the Bamford, not individuals doing it, but it's like AMG for Mercedes or Roush for Mustang. Bamford's super high-end modding. People are okay with that.
Right.
Although there was that company that was modding the date justs, colorizing the dials and selling them. They bought them used. They're called La Californienne. And Rolex put a stomp on them.
Yeah.
And it was because probably it was the years leading up to their color release of the OPs. So everyone thinks that's why Rolex put the squash on them. I actually wrote to them. I talked to them because when that came out, the husband and wife team behind. I wrote them. I was like, hey, you were doing something cool and something smart. Don't take it on the chin from Rolex. Pivot. What you were doing was cool, and I don't agree with what Rolex did to you.
Yeah, I mean, well, here's the thing. I would say modding to achieve something that doesn't exist is much different than modding to present as something that does exist.
True. It's with that legal case though. It was like I don't know how Rolex got the judges on board with that because it clearly was. These were old watches.
Right.
Yeah, but I'm sorry I didn't mean to interrupt you. Go ahead. What were you gonna say?
That's a good point. Yeah, I don't know.
Yeah, so it's high-end, low-end modding, but modding and Omega, that's arguably in between, right? Seiko and Rolex. But to your point, yeah, it's a weird feeling, but it's Omega parts. I don't know. I love this one. So
yeah, that dial, I would love to have one of those. And I mean, I really enjoy the Speedmaster. I'd love
and
to
racing.
have that.
You're a racer.
Yeah, and that one. I would love to have that one in particular.
Looks an awful lot like my reduced Shumi.
It does look a lot like that.
I mean, this is more orange, where the Shumi is more red. Gorgeous watch. And speaking of the reduced, we got this next one up, also out of the JDM. Gorgeous one. This reduced, I guess reverse Panda Blue. They only made 1,500 of them. And I wouldn't have known that this was out there and modded unless one of the listings on eBay said so. Because I just didn't know. When I first discovered this, I didn't know people were doing it, buying the dials and swapping it in on this model. It's attractive. In some photos, though, it's a sunburst blue. It looks a little too bright, a little too shiny for me. So, I don't know. One of these just popped at 3,200, and I'm scared off of them now because there's none of the listings for these watches come with box and papers. Not one of them.
Yeah, I mean I think that would be the concern about purchasing any of these unique watches like that. Even if they don't mention, or especially if they don't mention that it's a build.
Yeah.
You know, like where were the parts originating from? I mean, because like we saw in the jewelry district the other day, where they're like, oh yeah, any dial you want. Like it does beg the question, like, how do you have all of these dials? You're clearly not like a Rolex certified service center.
Yeah.
So they're coming from somewhere.
I know where they're coming from. What they do with those older Datejusts is it's like a part shop, like a chop shop.
Yeah.
They buy them off eBay, strip them down, like literally take the movement apart, the case, everything, clean it all up, and they sell them into the secondary market. Here's a part for you. Oh, here's a little gear for you. Here's whatever for you.
Sure, but there was definitely some oddball colors.
Yeah.
In the jewelry district that you can, like, if you're like, oh, I want, this
chartreuse.
Yeah, and it's like, well, how many? You have 10 dials of those. I
got a team in the back printing them.
I have to ask you, sir, where did you acquire so many dials?
Rolex by Epson and Canon.
Yeah, I think it does seem a little suspect. So
I almost bought one of these because there was a point when they dipped under 3, like I think it was 2,700 at one point, but I just never pulled the trigger on it.
It's cool, but I mean, is it just a reduced with a blue dial that somebody cobbled together?
Functionally, it's a reduced 1, but it doesn't have the minute, so it looks like reduced 2, in that the reduced 1 has the minute markers, 40, 45, 50. Reduced 2 does not, but what's inside here is the same Depuis de Poix chronograph module, and it has the old bracelet, so it's functionally a reduced 1 on the inside. All right, next batter up, last batter for the day, and perhaps the one that I would do. Omega Speedmaster from the Moon to Mars. Oh, I love it.
You lost me on this one.
I love it.
Lost.
I tried looking up what the background of this is, why they did it. I looked on Fratello Watches. They had a really excellent article from 2018 on it. And they said, the background on this one was very, very thin. I guess there was a release announcement. These went from 2003 to like 2013, 2014-ish. So there's no idea how many are out there.
But it just, like, why are you making from the moon to Mars? Like, you're not on Mars. Are you just like playing the odds because that's likely to be
I think
the
it's
next
like planting
planet?
the seed. Hey, NASA, we need to get up in there into Mars.
Yeah.
But I really love the look of it. The challenge is on these that the photoreal subdials, they're a little grainy when you get super close, so you have to kind of hold it back and squint a little. But I would love to own one of these, but these have shot up. Pre-pandemic, I think these were 7 or 8K, and I was considering it, but like, oh, that's a lot, and I already have one. Now they're north of 10, 12K, but I occasionally see one of these dials pop for around 800 to 1200, I think. I'm thinking maybe. Now the challenge is, my Speedmaster predates yours. Yours is the 1861 movement, mine is the 861 movement. It's like from 93 or 96, I don't remember which. I think it's 93. And that watch is worth something now. Yeah. Because it's the 861 movement. So modding that would not make sense. But I got that watch so cheap years ago. So cheap, it was absurd. And I don't know, I'm not gonna mess with it. Who am I kidding?
Yeah.
That watch, even though I'm not gonna sell that watch, I don't wanna, monkey with it. I don't wanna monkey with it. I'd do this to your watch though.
Oh, thanks.
If you leave it laying around the house, I'll grab it up. That'll be an early birthday present for you.
I don't know if I would consider that a present.
I would be doing it for you. I would be doing it for our broship, my man.
I see. I
Yeah.
see. Yeah. No. I mean, I think it's interesting, and I don't think that's not any slight to Omega and their efforts in space travel, but I just don't get the moon.
Yeah.
Like,
I don't know.
where are you getting that from?
They want to go to Mars.
I mean, yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
So does Elon.
Yep.
So.
More power to them.
Yeah.
Well, thanks for having me out on the trip, my man, and thanks for talking watch dial swaps with me. And hope you enjoyed this little trip through this hobby of ours as well. All right. Take care, brother.
All right, dude.
All right. Peace.